What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is June 24th, 2021, and we are going to be doing our episode of the NBA News and Analytic Commentary series. Now, we're going to be discussing the Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Atlanta Hawks and Milwaukee Bucks. The Atlanta Hawks were able to win this game and steal an away game in Milwaukee to take a 1-0 series lead. Now, the second game will be in Milwaukee, the third and fourth in Atlanta. The Game 5, which I believe will be necessary because I don't think Atlanta is going for the sweep, will be in Milwaukee. A Game 6, if needed, will be in Atlanta, and a Game 7, if needed, will be played in Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee had a consistent lead throughout this game, but the Hawks always stayed close. And the thing about the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young, who dropped 48 points today and over 10 assists, which is something that I love to see as a basketball fan, is that the Milwaukee Bucks are generally a larger team. They're a taller team, and you would just feel like that this Milwaukee Bucks team, the Atlanta Hawks, were capable of making the Eastern Conference Finals, so they wouldn't get swept, but you would think that Milwaukee would be able to win this series, especially take Game 1 and take control of the series and just, make a statement on home court to take a 1-0 lead. But the thing about the Atlanta Hawks is whenever you expect for them to be at a disadvantage, they just play up to their competition. Clint Capella had 19 rebounds tonight, and Collins had 15. Meanwhile, Giannis was the only Milwaukee Buck who had double-digit rebounds. So that definitely was a huge part and a huge factor as to why the Atlanta Hawks were able to steal Game 1 in Milwaukee from the Bucks. But you would just feel like this Hawks team is a team that would be at a disadvantage against a team like Milwaukee. Like, Milwaukee would be like their kryptonite, except the way it looks is they're not. And it is just Game 1, and they did barely beat the Miami Heat in Game 1 of that series, and they dominated Games 2, 3, and 4 to go for the sweep whenever they had lost in 5 in the bubble to the exact same team. But this Hawks team, whenever you think that they're done, whenever you think that they're at a disadvantage and that they're not going to be able to perform to their peak level, they just prove you wrong nearly every single time, if not every single time in this playoffs. Trae Young is having one of the best playoff debuts in NBA history. I mean, he's up there with Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, even Luka Doncic from last year, and even this year. Luka played amazing this year against the Clippers whenever he unfortunately lost to them in 7. But yes, the Atlanta Hawks have taken Game 1 from Milwaukee, in Milwaukee, and that is something that personally I didn't expect, except I guess I shouldn't be surprised because Trae Young dropped 48 points. He was torching the Bucks just like Kevin Durant was for 48 multiple times whenever they beat the Nets in 7. And I definitely don't think this series is over. It could just be a fluke game, except I believe this will be a very competitive series now. But I'm very impressed with this Atlanta Hawks team and how far they've come from the beginning of the season to now, and even from the beginning of the playoffs to now. I mean, they're the 5th seed, and here they are in the Eastern Conference Finals, being a team that's significantly taller and larger and stronger than them. And that's just something that I find to be very impressive. Now, our second piece of news today is that Chris Paul, although it has not been confirmed, he is going to try to return for Game 3, and if he doesn't, he definitely will for Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Now, both of those games will be played in Staples Center in Los Angeles, but the Phoenix Suns are up 2-0, and although I would say that's a good sign for the Suns, which it definitely is. I mean, you wouldn't want to be down 0-2 or even tied 1-1 when you could be up 2-0. And I believe that this Phoenix Suns team is different than the Dallas Mavericks and the Utah Jazz, who gave up a 2-0 lead to the Clippers. And I don't think this series is over, but the Clippers are familiar to being down 2-0. I mean, they were down 2-0 against the Dallas Mavericks. They won in 7. And they were down 2-0 against the Jazz, and they won 4 in a row, and they won in 6, 4-2. So this isn't unfamiliar territory to the Clippers. I wouldn't count them out tonight, except if Chris Paul can come back, when Chris Paul comes back, which it seems like there's a good possibility it could be tonight in Game 3. I believe that the Clippers, yes, they're not going to get swept, and they might take it to 6 or maybe 7, but I believe at the end of the day, this Phoenix Suns team is going to come out and prevail. And for the memes, I'm just going to say it. Suns in 4. That would be so spectacular if the Phoenix Suns, a team who went 9-0 in the bubble last year, but weren't good enough to make it to the playoffs. And speaking of the bubble, Devin Booker had a game-winning shot against the Clippers in the bubble whenever he fell down, and as he was falling down, he shot the ball and it went in for the 2 points it was needed to win the basketball game. That was one of the best shots last year, probably one of the best shots I've ever seen in my life personally of watching the NBA. But if we can get a Phoenix Suns versus Atlanta Hawks finals, I feel like that would be a very evenly matched finals. I would give the slight edge to the Suns, except I would also give the slight edge to the Bucks, and look here, they lost game 1. I feel like both the Hawks and the Suns are very confident teams right now, but I feel like the Phoenix Suns have slightly better weapons overall as a team and on the bench compared to the Atlanta Hawks, and I just feel like they have more confidence and more momentum. I mean, Devin Booker literally paid the Suns and 4 guy and gave him an autograph simply because he said Suns and 4 and got in a fight in the stands. I mean, that says something about your team. Winning 2 games without Chris Paul, and I get it, it's on home court, but winning 2 games without Chris Paul and the way they did it, especially in game 2, that tells you something about an organization and a basketball team. And they are red hot right now. Both teams are, but especially the Phoenix Suns. They've won 9 playoff games in a row. And I just don't see the Suns losing the Western Conference Finals. And if they make it to the finals, I truly believe they're going to win it. I mean, even if they play a team like the Bucks, I just feel like Mike Budenholzer is just not going to get the job done. He'll choke. I feel like against the Atlanta Hawks, I feel like the Suns would win in about 6 games, maybe 7. And I just am very confident in the Suns team, especially whenever Chris Paul returns for the Western Conference Finals. Hopefully that can be tonight. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him to get a ring. But to be honest, as long as it's not the Clippers, I don't really care because they're a larger market, and I don't like larger market teams winning. And I like to see smaller markets like the Bucks and the Hawks and the Suns make the NBA Finals. And obviously, the Hawks and Bucks can't both make it, but one of them will. So, in conclusion, Chris Paul, there's a good chance he'll be back tonight for Game 3, and the Hawks steal Game 1 in Milwaukee. Trae Young throws the ball up in celebration, and thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like if you liked the video, and subscribe for more content like this. Peace.